Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and start on Weezer's Island in the Sun. Now, this song actually, most of it's just contained with rhythm guitar. We're going to start on the part that starts at the very beginning, which are the chords. It's going to sound like this. Now you can actually play those chords as open position chords down here. The only problem is it's not going to sound quite, it's not going to be exactly right. They're the right chords, but they don't have some of these high notes in there that you want to make it sound exactly like the song. So I'm going to teach you today with the bar chords. Someday I may come back and do it with the open position chords, but for right now we're just going to use the bar chords. Okay, now what we're doing is an E minor, an A minor, a D, and a G. Okay, those are the chords that we're using. Now, if you know those chords down here, you can, if you already know them, you can go ahead and just substitute those in. But let's go ahead and learn the bar chords. So, remember, a bar chord is any time you're going to press across more than one string with one finger. In this case, this first finger is going to be pressing down the A string and the E string in the 7th fret. So, start off by laying your first finger across the 7th fret. Remember, this is the 12th, 9th, 7th, okay? And you're going to bar across there. Now, you really want to make sure that you're actually pressing down the A and the E string. The ones in the middle don't matter as much because the other fingers are going to be in front of it. Okay, so let's put down the other fingers. You're going to take your third finger and put it on the 9th fret of the D string for this note. Okay? Your pinky is going to go in the 9th fret of the G string. Okay? So there's your pinky. Your middle finger is going to go down in the 8th fret of the B string. Okay? So these three fingers are playing these notes. Okay? Your first finger is barring in the 7th fret for the E string, the high E string, that skinny one, and the A string in the 7th fret. Okay, so your chord should sound like this. Okay, let's get to the second chord. It's an A minor bar chord. For A minor, we're actually going to go to the 5th fret. This is the 5th fret, and we're going to bar all the way across this time. We're not going to leave off that E string, so we're going all the way across. And now it kind of looks a lot like the one we just did, but everything's moved up one string. So your third finger is going to be in the 7th fret of the A string for this note. Okay. Your pinky is going to be in the 7th fret of the D string. Your middle finger or second finger is going to be in the 6th fret of the G string. Oh, I'm sorry, no, we're doing an A minor, so you leave that one up. Do not put that one down, that makes it a major chord. So leave that finger up. And then we actually only need our bar finger now. So we're barring in the 5th fret for the low E string, the thick one. Third finger for the 7th fret on the A string. Pinky is playing the 7th fret of the D string. And then the G string, B string, and E string are barred with my first finger. Okay? That's what your chord should sound like. Okay? So those are your first two chords. E minor, A minor. That's our third chord right there. This is our D. Now, we're not going to use the thick E string here, so you're actually going to mute it with the edge of your finger here. You basically want to come up and touch that string with the edge of your finger. If you get on top of it, it's going to play on accident. So you want to get right here and then go to the side and touch it with your actual tip of your finger so that it doesn't play. Okay, so your first finger is actually not the bar this time. It's only going to play the A string in the 5th fret. Your third finger is going to be the bar this time. It is going to play the 7th fret of the D, the G, and the B. okay? And then the skinny E string is muted. So we're only playing the four middle strings here: A, D, G, and B. So that's your D bar chord. Okay, so far we've got E minor, A minor, D, and now we're going to play the G. Now what that is you're going to bar in the 3rd fret. Remember, this is the 3rd fret with that dot right there. And you're going to take your 3rd finger, put it in the 5th fret on the A string. Take your pinky and put it on the 5th fret of the D string. Now take your middle finger or your 2nd finger and put it in the 4th fret of the G string. And then everything else is barred, so the B and the E string are barred with your 1st finger in the 3rd fret. So your 1st finger is playing the E string, or the low E string, the thick one, the B string, and the high E string, the thin one, in the 3rd fret with your 1st finger. So here's what that chord should sound like. This is a G. Okay? Now, here's how they'll go together. Now, let's go ahead and work on that rhythm a little bit. Now, let's start with our first chord. The rhythm, you want to actually, before you go into this part of the lesson, you actually want to practice those chord changes. So just practice holding the chords and strumming them and getting to the next chord as fast as possible. You can even do that with the song once you're fast enough to do that, and you only strum it once, so you've got time to change while they're still playing the rhythm, and that helps you stay full speed before you're actually totally ready to do it. So let's go ahead and do the rhythm now. Hold down your E minor, and the rhythm that I use sounds like this. Okay, that's your first one. Now I have a chuck in there. A chuck is when you're muting strings by touching them here, but I'm not pressing down anymore. If you can see, I'm pressing it there, letting up the pressure, pressing it, letting up the pressure. So when I have the pressure down, you can hear the chord. When I let up, you don't hear anything. And you don't have to grab like this or anything like that. You just keep your fingers where they're at. You're touching all the strings already anyways. Okay? So you're going to go ahead and strum twice here and then chuck. Okay, 2 downs and then an up. That means you've got a chord, then a gap, then a chord, but then no gap in timing, and immediately a chuck. So da 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 da. Then you're going to go to the A minor here. The rhythm of this one is going to sound like this. It's just 2 downstrokes. You don't have the chuck or anything like that. Okay, so just 2 downstrokes. Then we're going to go to the D chord right after that. Now you got to be quick at going from this A minor to the D, but your fingers are so close that it's not too hard to do that. But I tell you what, I'm running out of time. I'm afraid I'm not exactly sure how much time I have left, and I know I'm getting close to 10 minutes, so I'd better cut the video off here, and I'll make a second video to explain the rest of the way through the chord progression.